Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. The second weekend box office estimates are in, and it appears that the Marvel Cinematic Universe is out. At least out of time, because the MCU, since the start of Phase 4 back in 2021, seems like they continue to set records. Unfortunately, they're just not the records that they need to have. Let's get into it. Renegade Online. Well, welcome back. Another great day here at Valiant Renegade. It's good to see everybody out there again. And if you are like one of the many folks watching this video not yet subscribed, please turn that little red subscribe button to gray. Hit that like button, hit that notification bell, share this sucker out on the social medias, and of course, please do leave a comment before you head out the door today. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Well, the second weekend wasn't what Marvel was hoped for, and as a matter of fact, the box office is estimating to come in even lower than projections coming into this weekend, which is bad news. As we've discussed many times here on Valiant Renegade, one of the biggest problems with Marvel Cinematic Universe titles is that they are so incredibly front-loaded, meaning that by the end of the first 4 to 5 days of the box office, not even a week into the box office, generally speaking, roughly half of the entire box office is already in, and it doesn't look like anything is different for Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, except for the fact that it had one of the lowest starts of any Marvel Cinematic Universe title in recent years. Now, to remind folks, the opening weekend for Quantumania came in at just about $106 million domestically, $120 million if you account for the President's Day federal holiday on the first Monday. And that's well behind Thor: Love and Thunder's opening and that of Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, the two most recent entries prior to Quantumania. Now, Quantumania still came in with a reported $200 million production budget, which seems pretty common fare for Marvel movies these days. And the previous two Ant-Man movies, as we've mentioned before, never were the biggest performers for the MCU, but one of the things they had going for them is they also had some of the lowest budgets for production of any MCU title. The last two entries came in at about $130 million apiece, $70 million less reportedly than this latest entry. And that is what's going to provide some big problems for this movie crossing into financial profitability, because at this point, this movie is probably unlikely to even get anywhere close to $600 million. In fact, it may end its run closer to $5 million. Let's take a look at the numbers from this weekend. Quantumania, still the worst drop for an MCU title. This from Anthony D'Alessandro at Deadline Magazine. Disney Marvel's official numbers for Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania still show the worst drop for an MCU title at negative 69.6%. with $32.2 million for the weekend after an estimated $14.6 million Saturday, 76% positive for a running total of $167.2 million in first place for the weekend. How will Marvel post-mortem this? One insider close to the film isn't worried. Full stop. If your Disney movie insider isn't worried about Ant-Man and the Wasp's second weekend, this drop, the movie in general, or all of Phase 4 and now Phase 5 to this point, your source is either a damn fool or a damn liar. Marvel takes something away from every movie, including Black Panther, including Avengers. I can say that we're incredibly proud of the film. Jonathan Majors does a fantastic job as Kang. It's the movie we wanted to make. You wanted to make a bad movie? Box office is what it is, but it's not going to stop people from going back to theaters. No, but it may stop people from going to any more Marvel movies in the kind of quantities that you need them to cover these enormous production and marketing budgets for all of these films. Let's be very frank here. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. This was set to lead off Phase 5. This was set to be the major introduction for the major big bad in the new Marvel universe. Kang. Jonathan Majors, for weeks, has been talked about as, oh, he's wonderful, oh, he's this. He's been on the cover of magazines. He's also counting on Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania to help propel ticket sales for Creed 3, where he also plays the big bad. And that's why probably Creed 3 is seeing some very soft ticket pre-sales. As I mentioned in a tweet a couple of days ago, early projections, the first projections for John Wick 4 are outstripping Creed 3 and Shazam 2 by quite a bit. And let's look at the box office comparison here. Once again, the domestic box office for Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania is probably not going to be the issue so much as it is the international box office. Look at the first Ant-Man movie in 2015, $340 million almost. Ant-Man and the Wasp in 2018, $406 million. Right now, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania stands at about $160 million, and that is before this weekend's numbers are factored in. Obviously, we expect that to go up, but do we expect that to go at least 2x from here to at least equal Ant-Man and the Wasp from 2018? That is very unlikely at this point. After 2 weekends worth of box office, no Marvel movie in recent history has jumped to a 2x from that point, at least very, very seldom. And one of the things that we have to also consider is that ticket prices are up over 30% since the last Ant-Man movie came out in 2018. That means that not only is Marvel going to bring in likely a lower box office cumulatively once this movie has completed its run compared to the second entry in 2018, but what that really means is that they have lost a significant portion of their audience once you factor in that ticket price inflation, probably around 30 to 40%, if not more. This is a trend that just simply cannot continue for the MCU because it's not just about the box office numbers. As a reminder, there's no viable financial place for these movies to go once they conclude their theatrical run. Disney Plus cannot keep writing checks from the right pocket over to the left pocket at Marvel Studios to pretend like the losses are being covered by a third-party distribution like Disney used to have when they licensed these movies out after the theater to places like Netflix. Those dollars are gone, and Disney Plus to date has racked up over a $10 billion cumulative loss, namely by basically buying out these movies after the theater. And then this is what you wind up with. PVOD sales and rentals are usually very few and far between by comparison to entries that came in-game and prior. And physical media sales obviously aren't what they used to be either, and especially now that these movies usually wind up on Disney Plus within 60 days of their theatrical release. Oh, and don't forget the merchandise sales that we've covered here on Valiant Renegade also have been in the tank for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. They used to be some of the hottest selling toys for toy manufacturers out there that had the licensing agreements with Disney. And as WDW Pro and I have covered on a number of occasions, thanks to our resource inside that merchandise industry that we've codenamed Deep Toy, well, we know that Disney is receiving a great deal less in terms of third-party revenue for these licensing agreements because the sales continue to diminish. And I think that that money is going to keep going down, because at this point, it doesn't look like the Marvel Cinematic Universe has anywhere near the commercial viability that it did even just 4 years ago. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below before you head out the door today. Hit that like button. Make sure you're subscribed to this channel. Set your notifications. And of course, join us this afternoon at 5 o'clock U.S. Central Standard Time right here on Valiant Renegade for the live show, Renegade Online. And we'll be joined by guest Melanie Mack to talk about the MCU, to talk about other things like Hogwarts Legacy and the general state of affairs in Hollywood and culture. We hope to see you there, and until then, take care.